Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to get the data from the form and use it in the cart. But before I do so, I need also to pass another input. I need to pass the ID, the product ID. So I'm going to create another input here, and I'm going to say type hidden and then name, and the name is product ID, and I'm going to say value, and the value is as usual PHP, and then echo, and then raw, and then semicolon, and then product ID. That's it. And don't forget here to close this tag, and we are good to go. Now in the cart, the most important part is here. Here, before we display the cart, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to get the data from the single page, because when you click on add to cart, we will take the user to the cart, but we need first to display the data here, to display the products that the user, or the product that the user added to the cart. We need to get it from the single product .php. So here, before we do anything, we need to use the session to do this. So I'm going to start by saying here session start, and then we need to check whether the post parameter is empty or not. So we need to use the sset function, and this sset function is going to check whether the user came to this page using the form or not. So I'm going to say here add underscore to cart, and then here else. So this basically is set post add to cart is going to check whether the user clicked on add to cart button or not. If user clicked on add to cart, then we need to move on and continue with the code. Else, it means that the user tried to get to the cart page from somewhere else, and we don't. At this point, we need to probably take the user to the previous page or do something else. So in this case, we need to do something else. Maybe take the user to another page, or maybe we can take the user to the old page or the index. We can say location index.php. So here, after we made sure that the user came to this page by clicking on this button, we need now to check the session. So I'm going to say if session if is set session, and then I'm going to create a session called shopping cart, or let's say just cart for the sake of simplicity. I'm going to say cart. If session cart is, if we have a cart, if the user has already added something to the cart before, then we need just to add more to this cart. Else it means that the user it means that this is the first product that the user is attempting to add to the cart. So here I'm going to say if this is the first product, and here if user has already added a product to cart. So if user has already added something to cart, it means that the cart is not empty. If this is the first product, then we need to add it to cart as the first product. So here, the first product, the code is going to be like this. First, we need to create the session from scratch, because this is the first product. So we need here to say we need to get the data from the post request. So to get the data from the post request, we can say post, and then remember the parameters that we passed are product ID, image, name, and price. So we need to say here product underscore ID, and it's going to be equal to product ID. So product ID is going to be equal to this. And then we need to repeat the same thing for other parameters. So I'm going to copy this and paste it 3 times. Here, and here, and here. So we need product ID, we need product name, we need product price, we need product image, and we need product, I think, quantity. Product name, quantity. Quantity. And then I'm going to store these in variables. So I'm going to here create a variable called product name is equal to this. And then product price is equal to this. And then product image is equal to this. And lastly, product quantity is equal to this. Now we need to add these parameters in a single array. So I'm going to create here an array called product array. And then I'm going to say it's going to be equal to array with these keys. So we need to say product. Let me add this in a new line. First semicolon and then in a new line, so that you see the structure. I want you to recognize the structure. I'm going to say product ID is going to be equal to the product ID, and then comma, and then the product name, product name is equal to product name, and then comma, and then product price is equal to the price, and then product image is equal to the image. And then product quantity, product quantity is equal to the product quantity. So we have all of these. Finally, we need to add this array to the session. So what I did is that I took the data from the single page, fetched them here from the post request, and then added them to separate and individual parameters, and then I collected them using this array, and then I'm going to add this array now to the session. So I'm going to create a session here. I'm going to say session with a key called cart, and in order to recognize this product, we need to give this array a unique ID. And to give this array a unique ID, we can use the product ID. So I'm going to say here product ID is going to be equal to the product array. So let me explain this. I know that this is confusing right now. Now what I did here is that I created a session, and that session is an array. So this session, let me show you the structure. So the structure is going to be, this session can store anything. So it's going to, in this case, this session is going to store an array. And in this array we have another array, which is this product array. But this product array, in order to recognize this product array, we need to give it a unique ID. So the ID is going to be the product ID. So for example, if the product ID is 2, then I'm going to store 2 with the product ID. So this is the product ID. This is going to represent the product ID, and the key is going to represent the product ID. Is going to be the product ID in order to recognize this product ID. In order to recognize this product array, because if we add more products, we need to also give them unique IDs. So for example, if I add product 3, I'm going to say 3 is equal to another array, And then if I add another product to the cart, I'm going to say, for example, 5 is equal to another array. So each array that I'm going to add to the cart must have a unique ID. And this is the structure of the array, of the session array. So the session array is a big array, and inside it we will have key value pairs, where the key is the product ID and the value is the array itself. It's this array that contains the information about that specific product. That way I will be able to recognize and distinguish between products that have been added to the cart. Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to work on the if statement, where if user has already added something to the cart. So if user has already added something to the cart, we need to check whether the new product is one of the products that the user has already added to the cart or not. To do this, we need to create a new variable called products underscore array IDs, which is going to return an array with all products that with all product IDs that have been added to the cart, and that can be done using the array column function. If I say array column and if I pass the session to it, session cart, and then if I pass the column that I'm interested in, so the column is the product ID, I'm going to say product ID. This is going to return an array with all products products IDs. So for example, if I added product that has an ID of 2 and 3 and 4 and 10 and 15, then this array is going to return these IDs. And then we need to use if statement to check whether the product has already been added or not. So I'm going to say if that product is not in the array, if in array, and then if it's not in the array, the product ID comma, and then products array IDs. Let me explain this. I'm gonna add here curly brackets. So this is gonna check, this if statement is gonna check if product has already been added or not, added to cart or not. How? By comparing. This function in array is going to try to find if this product ID is one of the product array IDs, is one of the elements of the products array IDs. So if that ID exists in this products array IDs, then we need to tell the user here, we need to say here in this case, product has already been added. Here, if not, then we need to add it to a cart. So here in this if, we need to add it to the cart, and to add that to the cart, we need to create another. We need to create an array like this. We need to create a code like this, and add that to the session cart. So I'm going to copy this code, and then I'm going to paste this code here. But I'm going to fix a few things. Let me push this, and then I'm going to fix a few things. First, we need to say product ID is equal to the ID. That's fine. And then we need to pass these here in this array. This is also fine. And finally, we need to add this array. So there is nothing is going to be different. But instead of creating this long code, we can, for the sake of making everything simple, we can insert the post parameters immediately. So we can say here product underscore ID immediately without creating these parameters. So without creating these parameters, because it's just going to take more code. If you don't want to do this, you can use the post request immediately like this. This is just going to reduce the number of lines we have in our code. So as you can see here, I removed these lines, and now our code is much smaller, much shorter. Now, in case the user has already added this product to cart, we need to tell them. We need to say, for example, echo script So here I'm going to use the alert of JavaScript, and then I'm going to say product was already added. Product was already added, because at this point the product was already added to cart. So we cannot add the product again to the cart because it is in the cart. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that I'm going to take the user to the home page. So I'm going to say echo, and then again I'm going to use JavaScript. I'm going to say here script, and then inside that script, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say here script, and then inside that script I'm going to say here window.location, and then href window. Again, make sure that the spelling is correct here. I have a problem. I should say window and then dot location is equal to index is equal to double quotes and then index.php, because the index.php is the home page. And of course, don't forget the semicolon at the end. So here again, let me explain this one more time. Here, if the product is not in the cart, if this particular product is not in the cart, then we add that product in the cart. Else, we tell the user that this product was already added to the cart, and we take them to the home page. So I'm going to click on File and then Save All. And now we are done with this part, which is going to add the product. Again, this is going to add the product to the cart if it doesn't exist. If it hasn't been added to the cart, it's going to add it here. If it's the first product, it's going to initiate the session. If it's not the first product, then it's going to check first whether the product was already added or not. If it was added, then we cannot add that product again. If it has been already added, if it hasn't been already added, then we add that product to cart. So that's it. Very, very simple and straightforward. The next thing that we need to do is that we need to display the product here in the remember in the cart. In this cart, we need to display the. Let me show you that. So if I click here on Buy Now, and if I click on Add to Cart, this is going to add it to the cart. But here we need to remove these products because these products have been added statically. So we need to remove them from the cart. Here from this cart, what we want to do is that we want to remove 2 products and leave only one to be used in order to loop over it and display all products that are in the cart. So let me here remove this. So this TR represents the last product. I'm going to remove this TR, and I'm going to remove also this TR. This TR represents the second product, and I'm going to leave only one TR. So we should have now one TR. Let me first save and make sure that I didn't break my code. Let me here refresh, and And let me go to the cart one more time. I'm going to click on buy now, and if I click on add to cart, as you can see, it's going to say here product was already added to cart. So let me first disable this. I think we shouldn't add this at all. Let me disable this because we need to go to the cart. So I'm gonna comment this out. And let me click here, buy now, and then I'm gonna click on add to cart, and here it's gonna say product was added to cart, but it's gonna leave me in the cart. Actually, we don't need this code, so let me remove this because we need to stay in the cart. So I'm not gonna take the user to the home page. So now we have only one product in the cart. Now this product has been added statically, and we don't want that. Instead, we want to add the product dynamically. So to do this, I'm gonna go again to the cart. Let me close this down, and here we need to use the session in order to display the products that we have in the cart. And remember that the session contains the session is a loop. The session, again, the structure is that the session is a loop with arrays. So we need to loop over it. So I'm going to say here above this tr, we need to create a loop here. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use PHP, and then I'm going to say here for each, and then I'm going to use the session cart, and then as key value. So the key is the product ID. The value is the array. And then I'm going to add here curly bracket. I'm going to open the curly bracket, and then below the tr, I'm going to close the curly bracket. I'm going to here say PHP, and then I'm going to close the curly bracket, and then I'm going to here I'm going to be using the value. So the value is the array. Remember the array that we added to the cart, which is this array in this case, and this array in this case. So this array has these keys. It has the product ID, product name, price, image, quantity. So we need to display the product ID, name, price, and quantity. So what I'm going to do is that here in this loop, instead of saying here white shoes, I'm going to remove this white shoes, and I'm going to remove this hard-coded text, and I'm going to use PHP. So I'm going to say here PHP, and then I'm going to say echo, and then what we want to echo is that we want to echo the value, and we want to echo what? We want to echo the product underscore name, and then semicolon, because the key for product name is product name. And then we have here the price. We need to say here PHP, and then echo, and we want to echo the value of the product price, and then semicolon. And I'm going to copy this code because it's going to be the same, and then I'm going to paste it here. Instead of saying here, let me check this. This is the price, and here also we need to display the price, and this is the total price. So we need to work on this later. But what else we want to work on is the quantity. So the quantity is here. So the quantity, we need here to say the quantity here value. I'm going to remove this value, and then I'm going to paste this code, and then I'm going to say product quantity. For the image, remember the image here, assets, images, featured.jpg. I'm going to remove this featured1.jpg, and then I'm going to paste this code, echo value a product image. Let me save, and let me head on over to the browser and test. So let me refresh, and if I refresh, it's going to tell me product was already added to cart. And guess what? It's going to display the product. But this time, this product is not the It's not the hard-coded product, it's the dynamic product. And here I have a problem. I should display the name of the product. So here I should say product name. So I have here an issue. I have an issue with product name, and here name. So I have a problem here. In the single product, let me make sure that I passed here I have, I think, a problem. Product name, product price. Here I have a problem. So as you can see here, name should be product underscore price. Product price. So this should be product price. This is why I'm getting here the price instead of the name. So in order to fix this, I'm going to close down my this tab, and then I'm going to open it again. So as you can see here, it's going to display the product name, and we have no problem. Let me test with another product. So to make sure that this works, I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go back again, and let's add another product. For example, I'm going to add this product. I'm going to click on Buy Now, and then I'm going to click on Add to Cart. So if I click on Add to Cart, as you can see, it has been added to cart, and now it worked successfully, and we have no problems with this. So the cart now works perfectly. Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to work on this button, the remove button, so that if the user clicks on remove, we need to remove that product completely from the cart. So to do this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create here I'm going to add here a form to this button. So here this button, we need to add a form. So in order to do this, we can here create a form, and I'm going to give this form action and method. So the method is going to be equal to post, and the action is cart.php, the same page. And then I'm going to move this a tag over to the form. However, I'm going to change this from remove to from a tag to input. I'm going to say input, and the class is going to be the type is going to be submit, and the name is going to be equal to remove underscore product. And here I need to remove this. And now I'm going to say value is going to be equal to remove. And we need to know the product ID. So I'm going to create here a hidden input. I'm going to say input. And then I'm going to say type hidden. And then I'm going to say name. The name is product underscore ID. And the value is, remember, PHP. And then value, echo first, echo, value, product ID, product underscore ID. And let me test first this in the browser. Let me refresh and make sure that we don't have problems. So here it says removed, but the problem is with the design. So let me work on, before I work on the logic, let's work on the design. So this button exists in the assets, in the CSS. So we have the remove. Remember, we have the remove here in the cart. So in the cart we have remove button, and here what we need to do is that we need to add background, nothing. We need to remove the background color, none, and border, none, and the width is 100%, width 100%. And let me now make sure that this is going to fix the design. So As you can see, it's much better, but I have here a problem. I should say background none. Let's say background white. Let's say background white. This should fix it, I think. So now it has been fixed. So now what we want to do is that we want to activate this button. So to activate this button, we have here a post request, and we have two inputs. One has a name called product ID, which contains the product ID, and then we have the remove product name, which is also an input that's gonna remove that works as a button, which is this. Now what we want to do is that we need here to add, instead of saying else, we need to say else if. Else here I'm gonna add I'm gonna push this, and I'm gonna add here another curly bracket, and then I'm gonna say here else if. Else if, and check the syntax again because you don't want to make mistakes. Here else if. So else if we have here, the first condition is if we are trying to add something to the cart, but in this condition, if we are trying to remove something from the cart. So here I'm gonna say, let me close this to show you the complete code. So the first condition is to add something to the cart. The second condition, which is this else if, is to remove product from cart. So if we want to remove a product from the cart, we need to first say here is set post, and then remember the input is this input. The input has a name called remove product. So I'm going to say here if is set post remove underscore product. If that button has been clicked, then we need to remove the product from the session. So how can we remove a product from the session? It's actually very simple. We need to use the onSet function, and then we need to pass the session cart. However, we need to remove only one element. Which element? We need to remove the element. We need to remove the product that has this ID. So we need to get the product ID first. Product ID. So how can we get the product ID? To get the product ID, we can use the post and then product underscore ID. Remember the product ID here. Here we have, in this input, we have name called product ID. We have this input that has a name called product ID. So we can use it here, and then finally we can say onset session cart, and then we need to pass here the product ID. This is going to remove that product from the cart. That's it. Very, very simple. And let me now save and refresh. So I'm going to refresh and test. So I'm going to here refresh, and let me remove a product from the cart. So for example, let me click on remove of the second product. If I click on remove, it did not work, and the reason is because here in my code I have actually a problem. I need to make sure that I have the product ID. So I forgot here to specify the product ID. So we have two options. We can here say product ID is equal to post product ID product underscore ID, or we can pass the post product ID directly into the second square bracket. But let me keep it like this. Let me now save and let's test. So let me refresh. Let me save and refresh. Now it should work. Let me refresh, and now let me click on remove. So if I click on remove, it will not work either. Why? because the product now doesn't have an ID. So we need to close down the browser and open a fresh browser. So as you can see, testing takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. Let me try one more time. So I'm going to go to the cart page and let me try to remove this product. For example, if you click on remove, as you can see, the product has been removed from the cart. So the product was removed from the cart completely, and now we don't have anything in the cart. And let me go back and let's test this on other products. So let me add another product. For example, this. I'm going to click on buy now, and if you click on add to cart, it will be added to the cart. And let me add another product because I want to see what's going to happen if I delete only one product. So if I delete, for example, this product, the second product, as you can see, one product will be removed and the other will remain. And if you remove the last product, here it's gonna the 150 will remain, and this is a problem which we need to fix. And the reason why we have this is because the code here is hard coded, so we need to make this dynamic, and it will fix this problem. Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to work on this edit button. So if a user decides to increase the quantity of a product, we need to edit the quantity and the subtotal. So if the user clicks here on edit and chooses, for example, four items of the same product, we need to increase the quantity as well as the subtotal. How can we do this? To do this, we need to activate this button. So remember, here in the cart we have this edit button. We need to create a form here. We need to say form, and then this form I'm going to give it a method and action. So the method is going to be post, and the action is going to be cart.php. And then I'm going to remove this a tag, and then I'm going to create here two inputs. One input, and I'm going to give it a class called edit button, edit btn, and value. So the value is edit, and also we need name. So the name is edit quantity, edit underscore quantity, and we need another input which is the product ID. Input, and then name. First type, the type is hidden, and the name is product ID, and the value is PHP echo product ID, value product ID, value product ID, semicolon. And don't forget to close this angular bracket. And here the second input must have a type, and the type is submit. Let me push these two. And again, let me explain this one more time. This form is inside this loop, so we can use the value, the product ID value, and the second input. The first input is hidden, but it's going to hold the product ID. The second input is going to submit the form, and it will allow us to get the product ID and edit the quantity. So we also need the quantity itself. So we need to create another input for the quantity itself. Remember, the quantity is this. So we need here to create another input. I'm going to say input. Or actually we have the input, this input, we need to copy it, and then we need to move it over to the form. So it's going to be here. So this is the quantity. Let me save, and let's make sure that the HTML code is not broken. So as you can see, it's fine, but we need to fix the edit. So we need to remove again we need to head on over to CSS, and we need to edit we need to open the style.css, and then for the edit button we need to here say background color white, and we need to remove the borders, border none, and the width is 100%. Let me save and let me make sure that the design is fine. So let me go back to the cart page. So in the cart page, we have actually a problem. So let me remove this width. I don't think that the width is needed here. So again, I need to go to the cart one more time, and this should fix it. So it has been fixed. Now we need to work on the logic. So here we need to create in the cart.php. What we want to do is that we need to use these inputs and use the post value of PHP. So at the top we need to add else if. With this else if we need to push this code, and then we need to create another else if, and then don't forget to close the curly bracket and open it here. And here I'm going to say else if is set post, and then edit quantity. Why edit quantity? Why did I say here edit quantity? Because here the form has edit quantity submit button. So the submit button has a name called edit quantity. So we need to use this to submit the form. And here we need to work on the logic. So here what we need to do is that we need to get the current quantity and edit that quantity. So how can we get the current quantity? To get the current quantity, we need to say here, we need first to get the quantity from the form. So I'm going to say here product underscore quantity is equal to post, and then product quantity. Remember the form has product, this form. The product quantity, it doesn't have a name, so we need to give it here a name. I'm going to say name, and the name is going to be equal to product quantity. So we need the product quantity and the product name from this form. So I'm going to say here product quantity is equal to post product underscore quantity, and then we need the product ID. So I'm going to create another variable called product ID, and it's going to be equal to post product ID, post, and then product ID. Now we need to access the session and update the product quantity. So to access the session, we can say session and then cart, and then we need to get the product the array of that specific product. So we need to say product ID. So this is going to return an array. Here I'm going to say product underscore array. So the product array is equal to the session cart product ID. Now from this product array we can access the quantity, the current quantity, the old quantity. So I'm going to say product underscore quantity. This now is the old quantity. This is the old underscore quantity. And the new quantity is this. This is the new quantity. So instead, we need to remove this old quantity and add the new quantity. How can we do this? To do this, we need to say we don't need this variable. I created this variable just to explain how it works. All we need to do now is to say product quantity is equal to the new product quantity, which is this product quantity. So this is the old quantity. I'm gonna override the value with the new quantity. Finally, we need to push or add this array again to the session. So we need to say session and then cart, and then product ID, product ID is equal to the array. So we need to return the product array back to the session. So let me explain this code one more time here. I'm gonna add comments here first. We get ID and quantity from the form, and then the second step is to get the product array from the session. We extract that array, we extract out the array from the session because there might be many products. The third step is to update product quantity. The last step is to put back, to return return, let's say return array back to its place, inside the session place. Let me save and let's test this code. So I'm gonna here refresh, and then I'm going to try to increase here. I'm gonna try to increase this value to, let's say, 3, and then I'm gonna click on edit. So as you can see, if I click on edit, now we have 3. If I increase this to 7, and if I click on edit, it's gonna say edit here, it's gonna say 7 here. So it worked successfully, and now this product will, the user will buy 7 items. If you want to make sure that the code works, you can go back to the home page. For example, you can go to the home page, and then you can try to go back to, let me go back to the cart page. So if I try to go to the cart page one more time, it's gonna remain here 7 because now the user has set the number to 7. The next thing that we need to work on is the subtotal. So we need to work on this later. Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to calculate the total quantity of the cart and also the product quantity, the subtotal. So let's start with the subtotal. So in order to calculate the subtotal, we need to get the we need to get the product quantity and multiply it by the price. So here in this product price, we can here we have this price here, and also it's being displayed here. So this is the single price, and this is the subtotal, the total of a single the total of a one product multiplied by the number of multiplied by the quantity. So here, instead of displaying 155, we need to say PHP, and then we need to multiply the, we need to say echo, and then we need to multiply the value product quantity by times the value product price, product underscore price, and then semicolon. Don't forget the semicolon. Now let me save and let me refresh and show you that now this is going to be 9 times 155, because a single product would cost 155. A single pair of shoes would cost 155. But if I want to buy 9 of these shoes, I need to pay 155 multiplied by 9. So let me here refresh. Let me go to the cart one more time. So if I go to the cart, I should here get 1,395. So if you make the calculation, you will find that this is correct. Let me prove it to you. So let me here say 2. Let me say here 2. If I say 2 and edit, here the cost, the total cost of 2 shoes is 310, and that's correct because 155 plus 155 is equal to 310. So this is correct. Now let's work on the total products. So if I have many products, for example, if I have, let me go back and let me go back to the home page and let me add this product. So this product would cost also, let me select another product because I want another price. So this one would cost 250. So if I click on buy now and add this product to cart, we have here 310 and here 250. but the total is static, so we need to work on the total. To work on the total, we need to create a code here that's gonna calculate the total. So I'm gonna create here a function. I'm gonna here I'm gonna create a function. I'm gonna say function, and then I'm gonna say calculate total cart, and then I'm gonna, in order to get the total, we need to loop over the session. So I'm gonna say for each session cart, and then we need to get each single product. So we need to say for each session cart as key value, and then we need to get each single product. So each single product, in order to get each single product, we need to say session, and then cart, and then key. This is going to return the array of each single product. So we can say here product. So for each single product, what we want to get is that we need to say we need to get the price as well as the quantity. So this is going to return an array, and each time it's going to return a different product. So for each different product, for each different product, we need to get the product price and quantity. So I'm going to say get the price. I'm going to get here price and quantity. So the quantity is going to be equal to product quantity. And then we need to multiply the price by the quantity. So we need to say total is equal to price multiplied by the quantity. However, this is going to return only one total of one product. Therefore, we need to create here a variable called total, and it's going to be initially 0. And then we need here to say total is equal to total plus price multiplied by the quantity. So what this is going to do is that each time it is going to increase the each time it's going to add the old total to the new total. So it's going to get the old total, and each time we have a product, we are going to get the price multiplied by the quantity and add them to the total. And here, by the way, I should say total. And finally, we can here say return. Finally, return what? Return the total. Or better, instead of returning, we need to store this in the session. So I'm going to create here in the session. I'm going to create a new key called total. I'm going to say total. Total now is going to be equal to total. That's it. Now we need to call this function. So where should we call this function? We should call this function each time we add a product to the cart. So we need to call this inside add to cart. So inside this add to cart, here we need to say update or calculate total. So here I'm going to say calculate total cart. Finally, we need to display the total here in the bottom. In the bottom, we need to say here, remember this part. So this table, in this table, we don't need actually this subtotal because we don't have, I didn't add any other costs. So I'm going to remove this subtotal. We just need the total. So the total, instead of saying 155, I'm going to remove it, and then I'm going to say PHP, and then I'm going to use the session. I'm going to say session total, and of course we need to say echo total, session total. Let me now save and let me refresh. So here, as you can see, what I'm going to get is that I'm going to get 560. So let's make the calculation together. Is 310 plus 250 is equal to 560? Well, that's correct. Let me prove it to you. Let me prove that this is correct, that the total has been calculated correctly. Let me increase here the number of products, and let me click on edit. And if I click on edit, now the total is still here. The reason why it's still 560 is because actually I need to call the calculate also here. I need to call it here in case we update or in case we remove. So here, in case we remove something from the cart, we need to calculate the total. Calculate total. And also in case we update the quantity, we need here to calculate total. Let me try one more time. So now if I refresh, now the total, as you can see, the total is 810. Let me here decrease this one more time. I'm going to say 1 and edit. And now the total again back to 560. Let me increase this to 2 and then update. And as you can see, the total now is 810. If I increase this to 3 and update, as you can see, now the total is 965. So now the total worked successfully, and now we have the total amount. So this is the single price, this is the subtotal, and this is the total. Welcome back. Now what we need to do is that we need to let the user check out. So after the user adds a few products into the cart, and if they want to check out, we want to allow them to check out. So let's work on this checkout. So in order to do this, I'm going to head on over to the cart.php, and you'll find that we have a button. And we don't need a button. Instead, we need an input. And we need a form. So I'm going to create here a form. I'm going to say form. And then I'm going to say action and value, action and method. So the method is post. And the action is checkout.php. And I'm gonna move this button over to the checkout form. However, I'm gonna convert this button into input. So I'm gonna say here input, and then I'm gonna remove this completely, and I'm gonna say here value. So the value is gonna be checkout, or let's say proceed. Let's say checkout. And what else do we want? We want a name. I'm gonna say name checkout. We need the name and we need a value. Let me check this in the browser now. So we should have here a button. Let me go to the checkout. Let me go to the cart. So in the cart, we have here checkout button. So now what we want to do is that we need to work on the checkout page. Remember, we have here the checkout page, and the checkout page is HTML, and we need to convert this checkout. I'm going to rename this page. We need to convert it into PHP. So I'm going to say checkout.php. Now this is the checkout page. If I click on it, it's not going to take me to the checkout. Why? Because we need to say here in this input, we need to say type submit. The type must be submit because this is a button. Let me refresh and try one more time. So let me here click on checkout. If I click on checkout, now it's going to take me to the checkout page. Now in the checkout page, what we want to do is that we need to work on this form and submit this form and allow the user to fill the information and then proceed to payment. So let me head on over to the checkout page. Now in the checkout page, what we want to do is that we want here to add a form. We already have a form, which is great. We don't have to do anything special. We just need to we just want to make this form active. We want to activate this form, and to do this we can just add here action and method. So I'm going to say here action and method. So the action is going to be a, let me create a file for this. I'm going to here create a new file in the server called place order. I'm going to say place underscore order.php. And in the checkout here we need to say place underscore order.php. And we need to set a method. I'm going to say method. The method is post. So here what we have is that we have the name, and the name has a name, the email has a name, the phone number has a name, the city has a name. You need to make sure that all of them have names, and the address has a name. The submit also doesn't have a name, so we need to give this submit button a name. We need to say here name, and the name is going to be let's say something else other than checkout. I'm going to say place order, place order, place underscore order. And here I'm going to say the value is going to say place order. Now in the place order.php, we need to work on the code here. So the code here is going to first check whether user clicked on this button or not, and that can be done by using the if statement. If is set post, and then we want to say place order. So if the place order is set, we need to do something else. We need to take the user to the home page, or do nothing, basically do nothing, because the user will not be able to come to this page unless they have something in the cart, and unless something is in the cart. So we need here to say place order.